Okay, so let me ask you another question about that then. So, see, one of the problems that I've had, because I've been trying to look at the potential for a true relationship between Islam and Christianity, to the degree that I understand Islam or Christianity, which of course there's plenty to understand about both, so it's no easy thing to manage. But there is this claim as well that's widespread and rather vague, that Islam is in essence a religion of peace. But when I look at the historical data, say stemming from the Medina time, and then moving forward, and the fact that Muhammad was definitely someone who engaged personally in warfare and in expansionist warfare, it's not an easy thing for me to make the leap to comprehending or being able to accept the claim that the fundamental doctrines of Islam are peaceful, are associated with peace, because it looks to me like there's an element of it that's quite militaristic. And I've also thought that, let's say there's a religious element to Islam, and I mean this is not an original thought, obviously. There's a religious element to Islam, but there's also something that's clearly more like a political movement and more like a governmental movement, and that's also complicated by the fact that there isn't any clear separation between church and state in Islamic doctrine, as far as I can tell. So when we hear claims when claims are made that Islam is essentially a religion of peace, then that doesn't seem to be the case with the Medina end of the theological discourse or the actions that emerged thereof. And then part of the problem is, how do you reconcile that with the contradictions in relationship to the earlier, as you say, Meccan doctrines? And it isn't clear to me how that can be done. So
Medina Muslims see Islam as a political creed that the believers should enforce, are obligated to enforce. So number one, they argue, in this sense they write, that Muhammad in Mecca did not give the Meccans a choice. He didn't say, oh, you can have your gods and I have my God. His message was, you guys are worshipping false gods. These are idols. You live in a time of ignorance, and I have come as the last messenger to convey to you, the light and the enlightenment, and come with me. Now, what is peaceful in his actions in Mecca? It's not the message that's peaceful. It's the fact that he didn't apply force. He didn't put together a militia and attack the Meccans, which he described as polytheists and unbelievers. In Medina, he does that. As he wins war after war, and the numbers of Muslims increase, and these are people who come to Muslim by force, then he says, everywhere where people accept Islam, that is peaceful. So the definition of peace in Islam is only after you accept Islam. As long as you refuse to abide by Islamic law or accept to be subdued by Islam, you are at war. That's why the Medinians make this distinction between the house of Islam, peace, and the house of war.
Right.
And the house of war is everywhere where there are infidels, and it's the job of the Muslims in the house of peace to convert them.
So it's a religion of peace insofar as its final utopian aim is the cessation of conflict, but it's the cessation of conflict in part as a consequence of conquest. And
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was more or less how I understood it. So when the claim is made that it's a religion of peace, then that isn't precisely, it's a sleight of hand in some sense with regards specifically to that phrase.